Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Good morning. Welcome. Nice to see your smiling faces. I thought we might start lying down this morning, but if you want to stay seated, of course, that's fine. And if you're lying down, you might like to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. And if you have a bolster or a pillow or a cushion, a blanket, you might like to pop that under your feet and your ankles. So your soles of the feet together, knees out wide, and then some support under your feet. So just a little bit of a stronger hip opener. And just making sure that your spine is in a nice straight line. Your arms can be down alongside you or overhead if that's available to you. So just take these first few moments to arrive, to land, and to choose whether you want to start lying down in Supta Baddha Konasana or just stay in a seated position. We'll begin by sighing the breath away 2 or 3 times as we start to anchor in the here and now. And one of the best ways we can do this is with a connection with our breath. So if you'd like to, I invite you to rest one hand over the heart center, the other hand over the belly. And then beginning to breathe into the heart space, so feeling the chest rise and fill up with fresh breath, prana. And let the exhalation come from the lower lobes of the lungs. So as you exhale, you feel the belly draw in or down if you're lying down. So breathing into the heart space, feeling that feeling of filling up, expanding, spaciousness in the chest. And then the exhalation comes from the belly. You can even exaggerate that and let the belly button draw back towards your spine. So really emptying. Breathing into the heart. And exhaling from the belly. Now we might try and work with a breath ratio this morning of 5-2-5-2. So I'll count us through a few rounds and then you can do a few on your own if it feels right for you at this point. So let's exhale all breath. And then breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, 2. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, empty. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, 2. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, empty. Inhale. Pause, 2. Exhale. Pause, empty. Work with a few more rounds in your own time, counting your own breath. So if it's available at this moment in time, we're breathing in for a count of 5, pausing for 2, and exhaling for a count of 5, and pausing empty for 2. Now, after your next exhalation, just release this practice. We'll come back to it later on, but for now, you might just sigh the breath away. I've been spending a lot of time lately walking down by the water's edge in Williamstown, and it's amazing how clear the water seems to become during winter. The metaphor of water has been used in many spiritual traditions as a way of describing our relationship with our deepest self. If the water is dirty, murky, cloudy, turbulent, or stagnant, we're unable to see a clear, honest, true reflection of ourselves. Much like the vritti in our minds, the turbulence, the fluctuations, the constant movement, thought waves in the mind that distract us from our true selves, that agitate and unsettle us. Many of you will be familiar with the story of Henry David Thoreau, who lived in a small hut by Walden Pond between 1845 and 1847. Thoreau described the pond as Earth's eye, looking into which the beholder measures the depth of his or her own nature. Yoga practice is one way we can begin clearing, cleaning, settling, and stilling the water, our minds, so that truth can shine through. So I invite you now to visualize yourself in a beautiful place in nature where there is a body of water. It might be the sea, or it might be a small pond, or a water hole, a river, or stream. Use all of your senses to take in this scene. See yourself sitting or standing next to this body of water and gazing into it. What's the water like? Is it murky or clear? Covered in thick algae? Is the water muddy? Perhaps the wind is churning up the water's surface. Is there anything growing or swimming in the water? Can you see any life forms? Fish or frogs or tadpoles? Can you see your own reflection? Can you see yourself? What do you see? Now see yourself picking up a pebble or a stone and hurling it into the water. Watch the impact this has on the water's surface, the many, many ripples spreading out across the water. You might like to do this a few times, symbolic of the turbulence, the agitation in our minds, in our bodies. And then let the water settle once more. And you might like to say to yourselves a few times, I inhale still water. I reflect things as they are. I inhale still water. I reflect things as they are. Let's gently release this vision, bring our attention back to the present moment, deepening the breath, bringing a little bit of movement into the fingers and toes. If you're sitting, you might like to have a little stretch forward. If you're lying down, you might bring the knees together if they're wide, move any bolsters or props out of the way, and just rock from side to side. And in a moment, we're all going to come up to stand. I'll come back to meet you on my mat. Just take your time, no hurry. So when you're standing, just make sure there's nothing around you that you might bump into, because we're going to start off with Kati Chakrasana, so a lovely flowing twist. Feet just a comfortable distance apart. And then when you're ready, just letting the arms start to sway around the body, turning to look over the shoulders. Just let the arms be nice and free and loose and relaxed. As we slowly start to warm up the body. Taking the arms up to shoulder height. And stretching the arms all the way up overhead, looking up. And back to shoulder height. And back around the waist, letting everything slow down. Bringing the head back to center. You might take a deep breath in and sigh the breath away. We'll go straight into some bouncing. So again, feet just a comfortable distance apart, little bend in the legs. And then we're starting to bounce and shake. And let's imagine that any of that agitation or turbulence, feelings of being unsettled within, is just draining down through the body into the earth. Anything that might be disturbing our peace, unsettling us, worries, tension, anxiety. Let this stuff go. You might blow the breath out through the mouth. Good. And then we'll just start to slow that down. And we'll move straight into some stale air removers. So you might take the legs just a little bit further apart. Deep breath in as we stretch the arms up. And again, letting go of anything getting in your way of peace. Anything that's knocking you off balance or disturbing your equilibrium. Let's do that again. Breathing in and let it all go. And again. Good. And then let's slowly start to come up. Lifting your shoulders up towards your ears and roll the shoulders down the back. Good. All right, let's work with our Qigong practice. I think you've all done this with me before, where we imagine that we're standing in a body of water. So you might cast your mind back to that vision earlier in the practice of being a beautiful place in nature, just standing in a body of water. And in a moment, we're going to come down, scoop up some of that beautiful, fresh, crystal clear water. We're going to bring it up above the head and then let it shower down over us. So again, a cleansing practice. So we'll do 5 of these. Exhale all breath. And then breathing in as you come down, scooping up some of that beautiful, fresh, pure water. Bring it up above the head and then exhale. Let it flow down over your face. When you get to the lower abdomen, hands can go onto the body. We rub down the inside of the legs and then up the outside of the legs. And then we repeat. Inhale. Bring it up above the head and exhale. Down, hands onto the lower abdomen, down the inside of the thighs, lower legs, up the outsides. So 3 more. Last one. Letting it wash away the old, the heavy, the stagnant, and then coming into Tadasana. Just spreading the toes, roll the shoulders back, softening the shoulders, softening the skin of the face. Exhale all breath here. And then as we breathe in, we're going to sweep the arms up overhead, bringing the palms together. And as we exhale, bringing the hands down to the heart. On the next inhale, we take the hands forward, still in prayer, and exhale back to the heart. Breathe in, taking the hands out to the side as though you're pressing against an imaginary wall, and back to the heart. Inhale, arms go up above the head, and exhale. So let's work with a few more of these. Breathing in. And breathing out. Inhale, arms forward. Exhale, back to the heart. Breathe in, pressing those hands against an imaginary wall. And breathe out. Inhale. Let's do 3 more. So a long, smooth inhalation. And long, smooth exhalation. Inhale. Exhale. Stay with your breath. Listening to the breath. Breathe your arms out in front and back to the heart, out to the sides. Last one. Release. All right. So another similar type movement with the arms, keeping the legs as they are. This time as we breathe in, we're going to take the arms out to shoulder height. And as we exhale, we're turning the palms over and just softening your shoulders. On the next inhale, we're taking the arms above the head, just to shoulder width apart. And as we exhale, we're just pausing. Inhale, bring the palms together, stretching up tall and down through the feet. And exhale, lowering the hands down through the center. If you'd like to challenge yourself, we're going to come up onto our tiptoes. So breathing in, arms to shoulder height. We exhale and just turn the palms over. Inhale, take the arms up, shoulder width apart. Exhale, we pause here, just soften the shoulders a little bit. Breathing in, we bring the palms together. We're still on our tiptoes. And as we exhale, we lower the heels as the hands come down. So let's try 3 more of these. Breathing in, perhaps up onto the balls of the feet. Exhale, palms face up. Inhale, shoulder width apart. Pause here as you exhale. Bring the palms together as you inhale. And lowering the heels and your hands. Again. Pause as you exhale, soften a little, make sure you're not clenching the teeth. Breathe in, press the palms together. And exhale, lower the hands. Last one without my voice. And release. Just give the legs a little bit of a shake. Feet still hip width apart. We'll do a little bit of a stretch for the sides now. So breathing in, raising the arms above the head. We'll hold the right wrist with the left hand. And as we exhale, we're leaning over to the left side. Breathe yourself back to center. Change the grip. And leaning over to the right. Inhale, center. And release the arms down. Let's do 2 more of these. Inhale. Holding the right wrist and over to the left. Back to center. Change the grip. And over to the right. So, last one. Nice. Let's take the legs a little bit wider apart now, and we're going to work with the Tibetan yoga breath. We'll see if we can come back to that breath ratio of 5-2-5-2. So again, I'll count a couple of rounds and then we'll do 2 or 3, just counting to yourself. So we'll turn to look down towards our left fingers. Exhale all breath. And as we breathe in, we start to raise this arm. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 2. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Empty. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 2. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Empty. Inhale. Pause. 2. Exhale. Pause. Empty. Inhale. Pause. 2. Exhale. Pause. Empty. Keep going, working with your own breath. You can change that breath ratio if this one isn't really right for you this morning. You might be breathing a bit slower than me or a bit faster. You just want to make sure that the breath stays very calm and smooth and steady, not adding to any extra agitation inside, in turbulence. Helping to calm the mind, calm the body with our calm breathing. Let's do one more to each side. When you finish, come back to center, roll the shoulders back, take a deep breath in and sigh it away. So we're going to keep the legs wide, but just turn the outer edges of the feet parallel. We'll work with a variation of Trikonasana now, so still focusing on the sides of the body. If you want to, you can keep working with that breath ratio, or just allow the breath to be very calm and smooth and long and deep. So let's breathe in, raise the arms to shoulder height, turning to the left. And then exhale, we're tipping over to the left side, looking down towards our left big toe. This top arm can just stay straight up, or you might lean over a little bit towards the left, a little bit stronger. And then when it's time, you breathe yourself back to center, arms to shoulder height, turning to the right and tipping over to the right side. That's a little pause. So let's keep going. Breathe in. Turning to the left and breathing out. You might like to imagine that you're moving through water, so everything is slowed down. Now feel free to keep flowing, working dynamically, or the next time you come over to the left side, let's stay here for 3 or 4 breaths. Breathing into that right side of the torso. When it's time, you'll come back to center, turning to the right and tipping over to the right side. And we hold here and breathe. Noticing how this side, this left side of the body feels compared to the right side. Good. When it's time, inhale, come back to center. And exhale. Release your hands. Release the legs, give them a little bit of a shake. We're going to bring the feet together. Spread the toes, a little bend in the knees, hands onto your knees. And let's make some nice little circles now with our knees. Giving them a little bit of a massage, some loving touch. Sending some gratitude down into our legs, our ankles, our knees. Good. And then reversing. Good. And release. Bring the feet back hip width, hands onto your hips. Working into our hips, let's make some nice slow circles now with our hips. Try to keep the shoulders soft, the skin of the face soft. Sending some love and gratitude down into our hips. Good. And reversing. And release. All right, we're going to do a little bit of squatting. So we're bringing the feet back together, spreading the toes. We're going to hold on to our opposite elbow. And we're going to do, to begin, 21 little squats. So just counting to yourself. You can just lower a little bit, or some of you might be able to come down quite low, close to the ground. See what feels available to you this morning. Listening to your body and the wisdom of your bodily sensations. Good. So when you finish the 21, just release the hand. You might give the legs a little bit of a shake. Bring the feet hip width, holding onto the opposite elbow again. This time we're doing 14, slowing it down a little bit more. When you finish again, shake it out. And last one, legs wider, toes turned out, holding onto the opposite elbow. We're doing just 7 and slowing it right down. Shake it out. All right. Now we'll do a flowing squat, which you all know this one. We do this quite often. So legs are wide, toes turned out. We're going to incorporate the arms with this. So on your next inhale, raise the arms up overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to bend the legs and bring the hands to the heart, trying to keep the spine nice and straight and shoulders soft. Inhale, we take the arms above the head. And exhale, the pose dissolves. So let's do 4 more, breathing in and breathing out. Staying in the squat, raise the arms and release. Stay with your breath, long, smooth inhalation and long, smooth exhalation. Now, the last one we do, you might like to hold for a few breaths. So you might stay here or not. So a few breaths. And when you've had enough, raise the arms up. And exhale. And release. Good work. All right. Let's work now with our flowing bird. So I'll do this sideways and we'll come back to those words that we worked with earlier. So just exhale all breath. And then breathing in. So I inhale still water. I reflect things as they are. So legs can stay bent or straight here. I inhale still water. I reflect things as they are. I inhale still water. I reflect things as they are. I inhale still water. I reflect things as they are. So just continuing, working with these words if they resonate with you this morning, or you can just watch your breath. Keep it slow this morning, as though you're moving through water, supported by water. The next time we come into the forward fold, we're going to stay there for a moment. And then we're going to drop our hands down to the mat and make our way into down face dog pose. And we're going to pause here, find our breath. Might like to sigh the breath out through the mouth. Good. And then you might stay a few more breaths if you're happy here. When you've had enough, just coming down onto your knees and into child. Now, if you have your bolster or a cushion, you might like to, at this point, slide that support between your inner thighs and rest down in supported child. Allowing the breath to flow. And as you rest in child, you might like to imagine that water is trickling over your back, or even as though you're under a waterfall. And the water is flowing down over your back, helping to cleanse, to clear, to wash away old stuff, stagnant energy. Let this stuff go. Let the earth absorb this material and transform it into something new. Those of you who like a little bit of stronger hip work, you can keep the support there, but you might take your knees out wider than your mat, trying to keep the legs at a right angle. And you might be something like this, but you might also have a bolster there. And breathe, but also trying to soften. Keep that image of the water flowing over, up and down your spine. Keeping that connection with your breath as a way to calm the agitation, the waves, the ripples in the mind, the vritti. I inhale still water. I reflect things as they are. All right, so if your knees are wide, just bring them back in now, and we'll remove any bolsters or props from under us. Just come up for a moment. You might like to just shake the legs back. Shake it out. And then come back into extended child. So the arms extended forward. In a moment, we're going to move into cat and then back into child. And if you'd like to join with me, we'll come back to that breath ratio 5-2-5-2. So I'll count a few rounds, and then again, as we've been doing, you can work with your own count. So let's exhale all breath. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, 2. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, empty. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, 2. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, empty. Inhale. Exhale. keep going. We'll do a few more. Finish the one you're on and work with one more. And then a little pause. Moving on now into our hippie cat. So a bit more work for our hips. We're going to come around to one side, lean forward, around to the other side and all the way back. So around to the side, forward to the other side and back. Good, and then we'll reverse directions. Good, and come back to center, and then come up onto all fours. Now work with another variation of cat. We're still making circles, but in a different way this time. So we're going to come down as close as we can to the mat, and then we push the back up towards the sky. So come over to one side, crouch down low to the other side, and then push the back up. So a few more of these. And then reversing. Good. And just push back into extended child. Take a breath or two here. Good. Come back onto all fours. We'll do a little bit of a stretch for our calves now. So the knees are together, just extending one leg back, tuck your toes under, and let's hold this stretch. Just taking a moment to notice where the mind is, where your attention is being drawn, and continuing to bring it back to the breath again and again. Let's release that leg and take the other leg back, tuck the toes. Good. Release that leg. So we'll go back and repeat the calf stretch, or we'll come into plank. So that it's optional. You decide which one you'd like to work with. You're coming into plank, you take one leg back and then the other. So the body's in a nice straight line, shoulders over the wrists. And if you'd like to challenge yourself a little bit further this morning, see if you can lift one leg up. And breathe. Hold that for a couple of breaths. And then lower that foot down, take the other one up. Breathe. Lower it down, bend your legs, and push back into extended child. Couple of breaths here. All right, so I thought we might have a go at a flowing sequence which starts in dog and moves into plank and then back into dog. If that's a bit strong for you this morning, you might do a few more rounds of cat and dog or some other gentler variation. So please choose if you'd like a gentle option at this point, or if you want to come along with me. So if you're coming with me, we start in extended child. We're going to lift up onto our knees, tuck our toes, and make our way into dog. From here, we're going to bend the legs, come forward into plank, and back into dog. So we'll do 4 more of these. Bend the legs, come forward, back into dog. Bending, come forward, and back. And then we pause in dog, or you might choose to come down onto the knees and take a little rest before we reverse directions. So now from dog, we're coming straight forward into plank. Bend the legs, back into dog. So we'll try up to 4 more of these. Last one. Good. And then let's all come down onto our knees and just rest in your favorite version of child for 3 or 4 breaths. Just taking a moment to check in, note how you're feeling without attaching a judgment. Right, so we've got one more little sequence before we work with a restorative pose, and then we'll be making our way into relaxation. So I thought we'd come into dog and then step one leg forward into a variation of warrior 1. So let's see how we go. We'll extend the arms forward here. Come up onto our knees, tuck our toes, lifting into dog. Now look towards your hands, and we're going to step the right foot between the hands. Just stay on the ball of the left foot and carefully come up to stand. So we want ideally our hips square, front leg is straight, and then we're going to take the arms above the head. From here, we're going to bend that front leg, swing one arm forward, the other arm back, and then we straighten. So one arm forward, the other leg back, and straighten. Just keeping it slow this morning. Good. One more. And then from here, just bring the hands down, step that left leg forward and bring it up. So we find ourselves into focus pose. Soft shoulders, soft face. And we can stay here, or those of you feeling a little adventurous this morning, you might like to make your way into a variation of Warrior Three. So taking the left leg back, arms are back alongside, palms facing each other. Left foot is flexed, and we're breathing. Not staying too long. Back into focus pose. And release that foot down. Okay, so let's do the same on the other side. So we'll just simply take that right leg back. So you're on the ball of the foot, taking the arms above the head. And now, as we bend that front leg, opposite arm swings forward. Opposite arm forward. Good, and one more. And then slowly bring the hands down, bring that right leg up. Hands in front, palms facing each other, focus pose. Lengthening up through the crown top. Option to stay here or to slowly take the right leg back, the arms back into Virabhadrasana 3 variation. And back into focus pose. And release the leg down. Take a breath. And we're going to grab our bolster or our pillow or cushion. And you've got a couple of options. One is to come into supported fish. So you might like to, at this point, pop your socks on, extra covering, even cover yourselves with a blanket. So either coming into supported fish, something like this, or another variation you might like to work with for a change is supported bridge. So we lie our spine down on the mat and then we lift our hips and slide the bolster or the pillow, make it a little bit higher, under the buttocks. So something like this. You can choose one of these two poses. Might like to close the eyes. And just let the body settle, let the mind settle and the breath. You might like to come back to counting the breath, working with that breath ratio of 5-2, 5-2. I'm going to stay here for another couple of minutes. So just letting everything slow down. And noticing if the mind has drifted away and you're starting to think about something in the past or the future. Not giving yourself a hard time if you have, but just gently and kindly guiding your attention back to the here and now. Focusing on the breath as it flows in and flows out. Just another 30 seconds here. And preparing to release from this pose. If you're in fish, safest way is to roll to one side, remove any props from underneath you, and lie back down. If you're in supported bridge, just lift the hips up, remove that support from underneath you, and let's all bring the knees into the chest and rock a little from side to side. Coming into a twist now. So for a stronger twist, you'll keep the knees and feet in the air. Otherwise, feet come back down to the mat. Arms to shoulder height. Tuck the chin forward, press the lower back down. Deep breath in. And lower the knees over to the right side. Now, if your feet are on the floor, you may choose to lift that right foot up and place it on the outer edge of the left knee. And head may turn to the left. You might like to come back to those words. I inhale still water. I reflect things as they are. Good, and then release the right foot if it's on the knee. Come back to center and exhale the knees over to the left. And again, left foot might go on the outer edge of the right knee. Head may turn to the right. Good. Gently release that foot, come back to center, give yourselves one last lovely hug and a squeeze. And then we're going to set ourselves up for Shavasana. We've got a bit of a longer guided relaxation this morning. So grab all the warmth and support you need. You might like to pop that bolster or pillows under your knees. And I'm going to come up closer to you once again. So settling down, getting comfortable. Sighing the breath away. Bringing your attention to the whole physical body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Complete awareness of the whole body. Allowing your whole body to relax. as you tune in to the flow of your breath. During Shavasana, we're going to use our mental awareness to focus on a number of different points in the body. This is traditionally called the blue dot meditation. However, we're going to tweak it slightly today. At each point, I'll invite you to bring your awareness to a specific point and to imagine that a droplet of pure, fresh water falls on that part of you, just like a drop of rain. Don't worry if you can't visualize a particular point or you can't imagine the water dropping on your skin or the sensation of water falling on your skin. Just keep guiding your attention to each area named. So let's begin with the first point between the two eyebrows. Gently bringing your awareness to this point and imagining or feeling a drop of pure fresh water falling onto your third eye, nourishing, revitalizing, clearing your third eye. And then moving your awareness to the second point, the pit of the throat, and imagining or sensing a drop of cleansing water falling on this part of you, helping you to speak your truth. Be clear about your truth. And then moving to the right shoulder joint, right elbow joint, right wrist, tip of the right thumb, tip of the right index finger, tip of the right middle finger, tip of the right ring finger, tip of the right little finger, right wrist, right elbow joint, right shoulder joint, pit of the throat, left shoulder joint, left elbow joint, left wrist, tip of the left thumb, tip of the left index finger, tip of the left middle finger, tip of the left ring finger, tip of the left little finger, left wrist joint, left elbow joint, left shoulder joint, pit of the throat, heart center, right side of the chest, heart center, left side of the chest, heart center, solar plexus, lower abdomen, right hip joint, right knee joint, right ankle joint, tip of the right big toe, tip of the right second toe, tip of the right third toe, tip of the right fourth toe, tip of the right little toe, right ankle joint, right knee joint, right hip joint, lower abdomen, left hip joint, left knee joint, left ankle joint, tip of the left big toe, tip of the left second toe, tip of the left third toe, tip of the left fourth toe, tip of the left little toe, left ankle joint, left knee joint, left hip joint, lower abdomen, solar plexus, heart center, pit of the throat, and the point between your two eyebrows. Gently releasing the practice. You might like to sigh the breath away. Just let yourself rest now a little longer. While you're resting, I'd like to share a story with you that I really love. It's from a book I came across probably about 30 years ago called Medicine Woman by Lynn Andrews. Lynn and her teacher, Agnes Whistling Elk, are sitting in a booth at a diner in the wilds of Canada. Placing a glass of ice water between them, Agnes says, "Lynn, take a good look at this glass and describe it to me." "Well," responds Lynn, "it is a clear glass of water with ice cubes in it." "Suppose this glass of water is you and the life you are living," Agnes said. "How do you mean, Agnes?" "You are like an ice cube floating on the water. Imagine you're the ice cube in the glass now. Let's say the water in this glass represents the all-surrounding ocean of enlightenment. And you're floating on it like an ice cube. As an ice cube, you look down at the primeval sea and you know a great truth, that you are made out of the same substance. You are made out of water. There is only one difference. Do you know what that is? "I am frozen," responds Lynn. "Correct. The only difference is temperature. We come to this earth walk for only one reason. We have chosen to come here only to become one with the Great Spirit. In your words, to become enlightened. Yet it's the one thing we're most afraid of. You come here like everyone else, like an ice cube, trying to melt into the all-surrounding ocean of enlightenment." So let's now start to deepen the breath. And bring a little bit of movement back into the body. I'd like to stretch the arms up overhead. Just having a lovely stretch. Do what feels good. And then quietly rolling over to one side. You might stay there for a moment. Perhaps saying once again, I inhale still water. I reflect things as they are. When you feel ready, quietly coming up to sit. And we'll close this morning with one Om. Bringing your hands together at the heart. Exhale all breath. Breathing in. Stay. Thank you. Thank you for joining with me this morning. Love to you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Lots of love. Bye.